more about this, the question in this film, how the footage changed the story, how it made the story.
I mean, I think it's always a dialogue between your structure, the structure, whether that's written down or in your head, and the material that you shoot or that you're finding. And I think that the structures that we came up with were sort of sometimes, they would sometimes describe a set of incidents that we could never find a way of portraying with the material that we had. We had no way of showing anything that related to that scene. At which point, the idea has to change, and you have to look for other archival material that will kind of provide the same beat in the film, will take you from the same place to the next. I mean, I suppose that structure is not set, but it is a way of telling the story. It is the slice of story that you're telling and the particular shape of the story. And often I find that structure is kind of, that if you work, because that structure sometimes that had evolved over like 5 years of just, going back to it every now and then and looking at it and thinking, no, that doesn't work, you need this to go there. And it was quite strong in a way, in the way that it told the story, And so, for example, with that scene 16, that then became 20 scenes and took us the first kind of, few weeks of the edit to cut, very roughly. Actually, by the end of the edit, when we showed the rough cuts, everyone was going, it takes too long for them to get to the whalers, we just want them to get to the whalers, And actually, we cut most of it right back to really how it was originally. And it was completely different from as it was in the script, but that beat of, you've got to get them from the shore to the whalers kind of in one go. That idea held true, and that was the sort of the structure idea, if you know what I mean. Does that answer? The opposite, where the archive changes the script, or where the script changes the archive?
When the archive changes the script.
I think the archive changed the script in that case because the incidents that were in that, the beat is still the same, but the things that happen are different. So for example, I suppose the archive changing the structure is the example of the I Ching scene, which was never in my original structure. But I knew that both we had some footage that could relate to it, and we also had them telling someone who was very good at telling that story. So often, and then there would be scenes like we had a long scene in it where they were baking a hash cake at one time, which was fantastic in all kinds of ways, but then was really, you had to make some really difficult choices in this period between when they set out to sea, not knowing where they're going, and when they find the whalers. And there were so many possible incidents in there. That in the end we had to just go with one or two. And then there are things, obviously people say things to you in interview that you didn't know and you don't expect, and sometimes they're really, really important. And sometimes you'd find things in the archive, like, I think in my original version I didn't give Bob's sort of breakdown the space that it has in the end film, and that's because we just found a lot of archive in which he was sort of tearing his hair out and looking really sad. And so we knew that we would be able to really sort of go into that in a quite emotional sort of way. Yeah.